I was homeschooling the kids. One of my kids was struggling with his math homework. So I was doing that parent pep talk we do, right? Like, we do hard things. You've got this. Finish your math homework and we'll go outside. And this little son of mine looks at me and he goes, Mom, if we do hard things, why are you climbing a mountain called I'm a Dumb Blonde instead of a real mountain like Mount Everest? And I'm like, I'm a dumb blonde. I'm like, oh, honey, it's Alma de Blom, not I'm a dumb blonde, but thank you. And I'm like, finish your homework. We'll look at Everest. So before I even climbed Alma, we looked at Everest. He went to bed. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to climb Everest. And I'm going to show this kid that whatever Everest is, we're capable of summiting. And so I called up a coach and the coach is like, yeah, I can get you ready. It was a lot hard, like more technical or whatever. So I call a coach. He's like, yeah, I can get you ready. And so that's kind of how this like whole mountaineering thing took off.
But correct me if I'm wrong, Amma is actually a pretty dangerous climb, correct? So how, like for a first one to choose that one is an interesting, or maybe, I don't know if it's dangerous or if there's just something unique about it. I mean, you can describe, but as a first one, what did you learn like once you actually summited, and then looking back on it now, is there anything you kind of laugh at yourself as like, damn, that was my first choice?
Oh yeah, no, like if somebody came to me and was like, hey, I'm going to start mountaineering, I'd be like, okay, Grand Teton, Jackson Hole, like,
Yeah.
go visit some mountains in South America and then go over to the Himalayas for sure. But I do think I had a huge advantage with the body awareness that you develop from gymnastics. That gives you a thing. But yeah, Ama de Blanc is actually still my favorite mountain that I've ever climbed. It's like the perfect height where you don't have to wait for tons of weather patterns to go through like the bigger mountains require. And it had a mix of ice climbing and rock climbing and all the different pieces, which were super fun.
And did you ever take a swing at Everest, or is that on the horizon still?
No, I did Everest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
you did
here's what
Everest?
happened. Yeah. So
Oh shoot, it didn't say that in my
Well,
bio.
no, she did all seven of like the main, I forget, what do they call it? Like because you even did the second summits, which I think are technically like, describe second summit versus first summit. Because I somebody told me once, and I think they're actually harder, aren't they?
Yeah. So interesting story. So like here I'm training for Everest. I'm having like a crappy day being a mom, which is part of being a mom. And I'm complaining to my coach. And I'm like, you know what? If I got a Guinness World Record, because that's what my son would read, and he would not read any other story out there, no matter how much I tried to get him to read. I'm like, if I got a Guinness World Record, I'd actually be a cool mom. And my coach was like, you know what? I'm going to come up with something. I'm like, okay, but I'm not eating, hot dogs or growing fingernails or the pumpkin crap or whatever. There's like unique things in that Guinness World Record
There's some
book
weird ones. Yeah.
that I have no desire to be a part of. And he's like, no, I'm going to think of something really cool. And so a few months later, he had called back. He's like, Jen, I think you should be the first woman to climb the 7-second summits. I'm like, I don't even know what you just said. He's like, well, the 7-second summits are the second highest point on each of the 7 continents. And randomly, they're more technical or they're logistically harder to get to, or like all these little things that make them harder than the first, which is why they'd only been done by one male and I'd be the first woman. And he's like, he sold it on this comment alone. He goes, think about it. 7 continents, 7 mountains, 7 children. It's a jackpot. And I'm like, it is a jackpot. I think I'm going to say yes to this, even though I have no clue what I'm saying yes to. And then the next thing is like each one of my kids picked a mountain. And so then all of a sudden, like I have accountability to the next level because I can't climb the one kid's mountain and climb everybody else's, right? And so, yeah, I started on that quest and just really wanted to show society and women and everybody that we are our own limiting belief and we have the choice to change that.
Did you have any close calls in any of those, or any gnarly moments where you're like, uh-oh, did I bite off more than I could chew here?
Okay, well, every climb you take, you're like, say that at least 10 times. You're like,
Oh
why
boy.
did I pay to be here? Like, what
Really?
is wrong with my head? But I had two close calls. One where I lost the teammate in an avalanche. And so instead of climbing a mountain, I ended up hosting a funeral on the side of a mountain. And then another one, which almost was worse. I don't know if I know that doesn't sound right, but We were in this snowstorm on Mount Logan, which is the second highest point for North America. And on Mount Logan, you have these really bad winds. And if the winds combine with snow, it can be harsh and you worry about your tent ripping. And if your tent rips, you're dead because you can't stay warm. And they're not going to send anybody to rescue you during a storm because they're not going to, put those people at risk. And so we have this tent up there, we build this igloo, and we get notification that a storm's coming in. And this storm is 6 days long. And it for 14 hours during one section of it, we had all of our clothes on. We were like, our guide was like, okay, now if this tent rips, you're going to try to follow the rope that we used to find the bathroom. And then you're going to try to go as far as you can. And then like slowly lower yourself into the crevasse, because that's the best chance of living if you can find a way to get into the crevasse. I'm like, the crevasse? Our entire
Wow.
lives have been avoiding crevasses. What are you talking about? But the wind was it would grab the tent and pull it tight. And then the wind would like go and then the tent would like relax. And so, and it's not like, oh, every 15 seconds this happens. It's 13 seconds, 37 seconds, 52 seconds. So your brain never gets to find a rhythm to just let go of it all. And we were on our phones, like writing messages to all of our family members so that if we did not make it, everybody had a message of what was going on and all that kind of stuff. And that moment was, yeah, you question a lot.